ببعض الكتاب وتكفرون ببعض. Do you believe in one part of the kitab and disbelieve in another parts? Meaning that udkhulu fi silmi kafah, you must enter into Islam comprehensively, completely. Even sometimes it against our desire, it against our will. Right. Globalization, contemporary challenges, globalization, extremism, and liberalism. Globalization defines a phenomenon involving the integration of economies, cultures, government policy. I think this one you can easily get on what they call this online. So just briefly to tell what is globalization is all about. You know, English word, any word with shin, globalization, Islamization, shin, at the end, it means a process. It means a process of turn into things into global. Sometimes they call villagization. Villagization means the process of turning a village, into what they call this, a globe, like to become just a village. Okay, a phenomenon involving the integration of economies, cultures, government policies, political movement around the world. The keyword is integration. Everything is integrated, meaning that we are not alone. Whatever we do will give impacts to others, not only in our countries but also in the world. The growing economic interdependence. So the keyword here, economic interdependence. Like for example, if the Wall Street fall, then the whole stock exchange will be affected because now economy become interdependent of countries worldwide through the increasing volume of cross-border transaction in goods and services of international capital flows, and also through the rapid and widespread diffusion of technology. Recently, there is a leakage, a problem in undersea cable, undersea cable, that this technology is depending, on only very short, very brief, but it costs millions of loss, because most of our finance, our transaction, this depend on this technology, interdependent. It consists of processes that leads to global interdependence and the increasing rapidity of exchange across vast distances. So this is what globalization is all about. Okay, next. It has acquired three different distinct meaning. Number one, information meaning of globalization from information perspective. Forces which are transforming the information pattern of the world and creating the beginning of what has been called the information superhighway, expanding access to data and mobilizing the computer and the internet into global service. The economic definition from this economic point of view, forces which are transforming the global market and creating new economic interdependence across vast distances. And the third meaning of globalization is comprehensive, from a comprehensive view, combining all those perspectives, all forces which are turning the world into a global village, meaning that the globe now just become like a village, just like become a village into a global village, compressing distance, homogenizing culture, accelerating mobility, and reducing the relevance of political borders. Under this comprehensive definition, globalization is the gradual, I said just now, the gradual villagization of the world. In village, if you want to call your friend, you open the window, and you shout, "Oi, Assalamualaikum." And then your friend will respond from another house. These days, You open the window also, not the real window, but the window of your computer, and you shout. You know what happened? People in US, people in Nigeria, people in, you know, in Algeria responded to your, what they call this, to your shout, to your shout. So meaning that the world become very, very small. The world become very, very small. So this is the, you know, what is globalization is all about. Of course, undeniably, there are positive aspects of globalization. Quickly, I will go. This FDI has helped to reduce poverty by creating jobs and improving income. So many investment come in. And new communication and information technology have helped disseminate knowledge in many fields of study and discipline. These days, for example, internet is almost you know, meaning that we cannot live now without internet. Everything done through internet. It's quite difficult now. Communication is cheaper and easier. So these are the positive. Cost of telephone calls as well as travel have fallen. Sometimes it's free. Sometimes if we use, sometimes it is free now. Very easy. Not like before. Okay. So these are among the positive. This make it easier to understand one another. Communities, although heterogeneous, can be more cooperative. There are more means of understanding each other. And globalization make it possible for humanity to have compassion for each other when calamities, natural or man-made, affect others. So what happened in Palestine, for example, as if it happens to our neighbor. What happened now to Pakistan, for example, with these calamities, natural calamities, as if it happened to our neighbors, meaning that, you know, it is very, what they call this, very important, this technologies, caring, and this also to sharing and also caring. Issues such as human rights and public accountability are brought to the fore, meaning that people become more concerned, more aware about rights, and responsibilities. Okay, these are the positive. Undeniably, globalization has the positive aspect. But what we are afraid that what we are concerned with is the negative aspect of globalization, among others, environmental degradation due to unrestrained logging activities, meaning that we need to have new factories and new new plant, for example, to produce things, factories. So then this, you know, sometimes we have to sacrifice our environment, our environment. Sorry, yeah. Yeah. Excuse me, maybe I have to take okay, back to our class. Okay, next is disadvantage. Although poverty has been reduced to a certain extent, because this economics, what I call this increase, New economic disparities have been created. There are stark regional disparities in poverty, meaning that some parts become very rich and some parts become very poor. And there's there is no balance. There is no balance. Global consumerism is now forming a homogeneous global culture where indigenous culture are being replaced by Western cultures. Normally, the tools of globalization are two. Number one, economics. Number two is technology. Economics and technology. Normally, when we mention these two, actually the one that controlling normally the West. So this will be used by the West to what they call this to change the culture into the Western culture, meaning that so the local might be lost their their own unique cultures. So they call homogeneous global culture. So what culture? Meaning those who control what they call this globalization, the economics and the technology. The global entertainment industry is propagating a superficial American pop culture, which titillates the sense and impairs the spirit. Yeah? So if we, if we ask, let's say, for example, our kids, for example, what is their idols? Normally, they will mention Spider-Man, Superman, Batman, for example. So meaning that because these are being portrayed to our youth, our kids. There is one Palestine student in my class. So they say that when the people are enjoying Batman, Spider-Man, for example. So I say, what happened to your children? They say that now we don't have all this. They are being trained, for example, to defend their countries. Yeah, so maybe different background. Our kids are playing and joining, while the kids there they are also playing and joining, and they have also what they call this training to defend, instill the spirit of sacrificing, caring there for their countries. Formal education systems are emphasizing technical and managerial skills, responding to market demand, and leaving aside traditional academic subjects. So more towards products, more toward products. That's why now, in many Muslim countries, they have what they call this, want to bring back what they call it, human in education. For example, in IUM, we have now talking about humanizing education, meaning that we are not create people just to become robot to produce the things, but we want to stress on human capital on about values, about the importance of spirituality, the ruh, and so on. But normally, globalization, they don't, if we are not careful, they don't stress on this. They don't put highly attention on this. The most important thing is the business, the material aspect. This means that education is nothing more than acquiring specific skills and techniques, and less emphasis on moral education, moral education. Okay, although the IT booms has given rise to an expanse of information, there is a lot of information that is useless and meaningless, causing people to be preoccupied with the trivia, meaning that something that is not important. Don't look at others. Sometimes also, when we have handphone in our hand, we go to Facebook, we can spend a lot of time, hours, without we realize it, and then our time mostly waste on that gadget. Is we are not what I call this discipline. It require really discipline today to if we have handphone, gadget, and all this. Otherwise, most of your time will be gone without any meaning, without any. Yes, there is a benefit. There is benefit, but there are also disadvantages. We are more occupied with something that is not supposed to be our concern, but at the end, when we stress on something that not important, then we will ignore something that is important. That's why we must be careful. Double standards are present in the human rights aspect of the present world, where they are used as part of Western government foreign policy, but only when it suits them. So when we talk about globalization, also when we talk about democracy, meaning that democracy from the perspective of the West, something beneficial to them, then they will acknowledge. But if it goes against their interest, then they will not agree. They will not agree. And globalization has internationalized crime of all kind, meaning that what we never heard before in our countries, for example, now it become something become normal. We have this what I call international crimes, international crimes in all parts of the world. So that's the negative aspect of globalization. Like crimes, disease is more rampant throughout the world, making the spread difficult to control. Okay, like for example, this one, COVID, for example, it started from Wuhan, and then very easily, in a very short time, spread throughout the world and kill millions of the people. Okay. Okay, that's the challenge. The challenge of globalization. Meaning that of course, if you want to look at from a solution from Islamic perspective, meaning that we must be careful. We must equip ourselves with knowledge so that we are not being what I call this simply influenced by those what I call this. We take something which is good, and then we set aside something which is negative. But of course, it requires true knowledge. Without knowledge, and then we are in the dark. When we are in the dark, we do not know the place of things, and then because of that, we do not know the place. We cannot see the place because it is in the dark. So then we wrongly place the thing. So this is zalim. Now wrongly place the thing. So in order to see the place and to put things at the right place, we need knowledge. Al-ilmu nurun. The knowledge is the light. Then we can see the place. Then we can know the value, the place, the things that we need to put. For example, that's why it requires us to continuously seek knowledge. Okay. But now it comes, Alhamdulillah, we comes to extremism. Extremism. This is another challenge. Another challenge. Extremism. There is a good book by Dr. Yusuf Al-Qaradawi, Extremism, Awakening Between Rejection and Extremism, if I'm not mistaken. A very complete. It's good books that if you want to know about extremism from Islamic perspective, comprehensive. That's book. I think published by IIIT also, by this organization also. Alhamdulillah. Extremism literal means being situated at the farthest possible point from the center, going to a great or exaggerated length, exceeding the ordinary, usual, or expected. Yeah. Meaning that how to know, because in Islam we have 5 hukum. we have 5 hukum, wajib, sunat, wajib, mandub. Now we have mandub. In Malay we call sunat. Actually, in proper term we call mandub. And then we have mubah, harus in Malay, harus. And then we have makruh. And then we have haram. Now we have haram. So extremism. What does it mean by extremism? Means something which is maybe it is haram. All haram are considered as extreme. It's not only excessive. Now, when we talk about extreme, especially Al-Ghazali, when he speak about what they call this moderation tawazun, he's not talking only about extreme in the form of excessive excess. He talk also about deficiency, meaning that the opposite of extremism is tawazun, balance. So balance is in the middle between two extreme. One is excess, another one is deficiency. Let's say, for example, if someone pray 5 daily prayer, we have 5 daily prayers. If he add another one, it becomes 6 compulsory daily prayers, then extreme. But if he prayed 3 times also, that's extreme also. That's extreme in the form of deficiency. Sometimes, but normally we focus, when we talk about extreme, we focus only on the excessive part. But actually extreme means the opposite of tawazun. It means that also in the deficiency part, that's also considered extreme, and meaning that we open the new horizon of looking at extremism, the opposite of moderation. Okay. Exceeding the ordinary, usual or expected. Figuratively, it indicates a similar remoteness in religions, politics, and ethnicity. But brothers and sisters, I'm afraid that you get confused. So when I talked just now about a point between two extreme, I'm talking about tawazun. Normally we use the term as opposed to extremism. So tawazun means a point between two extreme, neither excess nor deficient. Okay, no deficient. But normally when we talk about extremism, we focus on the excess one. That's excess only. Okay. Islam condemns extremism in all its forms and recommend moderation. The Prophet says, beware of excessiveness in religion. People before you have perished as a result of such excessiveness. So it is not, it is a blameworthy. It is not allowed for us to go beyond the limit, especially in what is already being ordained. The Quran addressed the people of the book. Say, O people of the book, exceed not in your religion the bounds of what is proper. I think all of you have known about one hadith. There are 3 people comes to see the Prophet asking, to do something that to increase their what I call this spirituality. And the first person say, I don't want to get married. I don't want to get married because married is somehow will what they call this disturb your ibadah. And then another person, I don't want to sleep at night. I want to do qiyamul layl, no sleeping, salat without sleep. And then another one, I want to fast without break, fasting without break. So they come to see the Prophet, and all the requests are being rejected by the Prophet. And the Prophet said, I married, I fast and I break, and I pray and I sleep. Faman raghiba an sunnati falaysa minni. Those who go against my sunnah, they do not belong to me. So meaning that, Islam is already beautiful, for example, then we just simply follow what is being prescribed by our what they call this, our model, that is the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He is our uswah, qudwah hasanah. Sometimes we think that we are, we are good, we are clever. Ustaz, can we go to the jungle, isolate ourselves in order to increase our spirituality? Yes, no problem. You can go, but don't stay forever in the jungle. Because the Prophet also, he make uzlah, but at the same time he has to make da'wah also. He must be what they call it, socialized with the people, amar ma'ruf and nahi munkar. We cannot simply selfish, just think about ourselves, going to paradise alone. For example, we have to bring also our families, we have to bring also our society. Don't be too selfish. It also disapproves of and rejects the tendency to prohibit tayyibat and zina, beautification, which Allah has provided for His servant. Sometimes, they make the halal haram. So this is not allowed also. What is halal, and what is haram is haram. O children of Adam, wear your adornment at every time and place of prayer, eat and drink, and be not extravagant. Surely He does not love the extravagant. Tafzir, don't israf, don't go beyond the limit. Don't go beyond the limit. Manifestation of extremism, intolerant, no tolerant. Very difficult, difficult. When we talk about this, what they call these wars in countries like, for example, Iraq, Syria, for example, this one. So we heard a lot of what they call these intolerance behaviors, intolerant behaviors. But sometimes the doer is Muslim. So actually, Islam against intolerance. Islam wala ta'tadu. Innallaha la yuhibbul mu'tadin, meaning that don't go beyond the limit. Don't go beyond the limit. Look at the Prophet. Look at the Prophet. Allah, the Prophet already outlines what we should do, what we should behave. And even in war also, Islam already outlines what we can do and what we cannot do. Commitment to excessiveness and attempts to force others to do the same. So, different people have different ability, different situation, different context, different what they call this situation. But sometimes people will generalize, and they want people to do according to what they are doing. Obsolete religious excessiveness and overburdening others. And number 4, harshness in the treatment of people and crudeness in calling people to Islam. Meaning that in Islam, we are encouraged to say it in a hikmah. Wajadilhum billati hiya ahsan. Give da'wah, talk to them with a hikmah. Even when the Prophet Musa is ordered to go to do da'wah to Fir'aun. Fir'aun is, I think, the most difficult man. But still, Allah asked Musa to use the soft words, the soft qawlan layyina, qawlan layyina. So sometimes we give da'wah to our friends, to our colleagues, for example, as if they are worse than Fir'aun. They are worse than Fir'aun. Even Fir'aun also, that Allah asked Musa to talk to them in a nice way. It is unfair to accuse a person of a religious extreme. This one, the concern that we must understand. It is unfair to accuse a person of religious extreme simply because he has adopted a hard line, juristic opinion of certain fuqaha. Sometimes this is little bit difficult, this strict, this one little bit easy, for example. Those who belong to that line, for example, we cannot simply say that this is what I call this is extreme. No, cannot. This okay, cannot. So as long as it is within the perimeter of Shara, meaning that it is allowed, it is not haram, then we cannot simply say that it is wrong. If we go to conference, for example, when they comes to refreshment, they don't provide chairs anymore. They provide foods on the table, and then many people are eating, drinking, talking while standing. While standing. Some people they cannot do this because they what they believe is that when you are drinking and eating, you must sit. So they look for the stairs of the hotel. They find a place to sit, for example. So meaning that we cannot say that this is extreme. Those who are eating are extreme, those who are sitting are extreme. No, actually, as long as it is khilaf, for example, there is a disagreement and it is within the parameter of Shara, we cannot just don't label them as extreme. People naturally differ on this matter, even among the Prophet companion. For example, Ibn Abbas facilitated religious matters, facilitated quite easy, but Ibn Umar, Abdullah bin Umar was quite strict. If you look at Abu Bakr, also Abu Bakr and Umar himself is, one is little bit soft and one is little bit strict. But that's the beauty, the beauty of Islam. The beauty of Islam. Both are important, contributes to the success of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. A person whose knowledge of and a commitment to Islam is little, or who has been brought up in environment that neglects Sharia, will certainly consider even the minimal adherence to Islam as a kind of extremism. This is background, the role of background. That's why don't quickly label, don't quickly make judgment, don't quickly make judgment, because different people have different background, different background. Okay, the remedy for extremism, as I did tell you just now, you can read from the book by Al-Qardawi on this extremism. The Sheikh Imam already outlined the solution, the remedy for extremism. Number one is the duties of the society. Meaning the society must be aware, must be conscious about what is happening around them. They should, for example, yes. Yeah.
1 minute.
Yeah. I see. Yeah, no problem. 45 hand. Okay. Yes. We have very, very conscious moderator today. Alhamdulillah. Thank you. Okay. Duties of not young Muslim. Duties of young Muslim. Understanding of abilities, limitations, circumstances of others, and knowledge and insight into the Sunnah of Allah creation. Meaning that we must understand that sometimes we want shortcut. There will be no shortcut. You have to work hard. The Prophet has to work to migrate from Makkah to Medina, for example. Sometimes we say why we don't have, let's say, for example, Islamic country, as if in order to have Islamic countries, it's just in a day. We cannot. The Prophet takes 10 years, to educate people before they have a Medina as the proper Islamic countries. So this is sunnatullah. Okay, then we have liberalism. Liberalism, a political philosophy based on belief in progress, the essential goodness of the race and the autonomy of the individual, and standing for the protection of political and civil liberties. Liberal, broad-minded, especially not bound by authoritarianism, orthodoxy, and traditional form. My dear brothers and sisters, because the time is quite is limited, I think there are a lot of writings on liberalism. Just I want to highlight here that yes, broad-minded is good. meaning that you must open is good, open your mind is good, but there is a limit. There is a limit. And in this aspect of liberalism, my suggestion, my advice is that fasalu ahla zikri in kuntum la ta'lamun, meaning that if we need to refer, we need to refer to those authority. In Islam, we have to respect the authority. So in terms of religion, we have to seek those who are knowledgeable in terms of religion. Sometimes because we think that this is logical, but sometimes our logic is being controlled by our desire. So we must be careful. It is not wrong to ask. It is not wrong to ask. Nothing to lose when we ask people if we do not know. I think with that, sister, thank you very much.